Good morning. I'm Chief Michael Moore with Enterprise Police Department, with Mayor Cooper with the City of Enterprise. Certainly we called you for to do a debriefing, if you will, of the incident that happened last night at the Enterprise Walmart in the pharmacy section. At about 7:11, Enterprise Police Department received a call of a shooting at Walmart. By 7:12, the first officer arrived on scene. And by 7:14, numerous other officers in the city arrived, to include Coffee County Sheriff and the state troopers. Within 6 minutes, everybody arrived. So let me be clear. In this situation, there are no winners. There are no anything other than it's just a horrible situation all the way around. There's a man that lost his life in front of a significant other, and his family's destroyed. And there's another man that had to use force to take a life, and his life and his significant other will never be the same either. So, however, we will debrief and talk about the events that happened. Prior to the shooting, there was a best described as a road rage. The one person, the defender, I'll call him, who is still alive, that did the shooting, and the aggressor got into words or something the other in the intersection. Later on, they met each other again in Walmart inside the pharmacy area. The defender attempted numerous times to excuse himself from the situation. It's important to point out that the defender had recently had surgery. He was in a sling. He was smaller in stature, and the aggressor on numerous times came towards him. So finally, what ended up happening is a knife was brandished by the aggressor towards the defender. The defender pulled his firearm and shot the aggressor numerous times. Life-saving was immediately started, not only by people there. From our accounts, the defender also tried to do what he could do, but he was pronounced deceased at the scene. And that's really all that it is. It appears at all accounts, and this was information was obtained by evidence on the scene, witness statements, and the full cooperation of the defender, where all this information come from. There'll be other information obtained through other means, video camera, video footage, and whatever else. But as it stands right now, it appears that it would be a self-defense situation. So I'd like to thank the following individuals for a job well done and quickness to answer, to protect, and serve the community. B1 patrol shift, like I said, within a minute, they had people on the scene. Investigations, everybody in full force came out with the Enterprise Police Department, Aaliyah State Troopers and Coffee County Sheriff, Enterprise Fire, and Enterprise Rescue Squad. I'd also like to thank the State Bureau of Investigations for the professional assistance, as well as the surrounding agency chiefs who called to offer any assistance they could. And the main point to this is it doesn't sometimes get as much recognition as they need to, as our dispatchers. Within 1 minute, they received the phone call and they had it put out by the officers. So within 2 minutes, we had people on the scene. And that is phenomenal. That's great for our dispatch system. That's great for the citizens. And it's great for our community. So, any questions?
Chief, you said right now you're calling it, I guess, an act of self-defense. Does that mean no charges are going to be filed against the shooter?
Currently, again, all I can say is it's still under investigation, but with preliminary investigation, with evidence at the scene, the witness statements and the statement of the defender, who's fully cooperative, it appears it will be a self-defense situation.
Do you guys factor in the fact that there were other individuals in the area that could have been harmed by those bullets? When you factor that into the investigation as well? So
keep in mind that when somebody feels threatened, they have the right to protect themselves. And we certainly want everybody to be accountable for every round that they fire, because that is their responsibility. But as we are all trained through the military, law enforcement, and just good practice, you have the right to defend yourself. It's unfortunate, and I hope those rounds had never hit anybody, which they did not. But he had a right to protect himself. If everything's true on the evidence that we've collected, he had the right to protect himself. So that won't be factored in this situation, because in this situation is what it is.
Did all the rounds that were fired hit the individual that was ultimately killed?
That I'm unsure of, how many rounds hit versus how many missed. I just know approximate, at this part of the investigation, approximate how many rounds were fired. Do
you know if prior to the argument, and I guess as you labeled it, sort of road rage incident, did they know each other outside of that?
No, sir. All of our accounts, they did not know each other.
Have you guys seen like a past criminal history with either one of them? Like a past criminal background with either one of them?
I'm not going to answer that, because one, I don't know the information. I know one was known of, and the other one we now know, but.
The concealed carry law that goes into effect in January, did the gentleman, the shooter in this case, did he have a permit to carry?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And then kind of what happened with like the people that were in the store at the time of the shooting? I know, were they moved to the back of the store until I guess it's cleared up, or are you guys allowed?
What did you do, Mayor?
Well, now with when the shooting started, there were say about 3 shots at the most that I really heard that, and the people said shots being fired, and then the siren went off in the store, and people started running out. So everybody was trying to take cover, because at first they thought that it was just someone shooting and was just going all over the store. But then they found out it was just in a certain area around the pharmacies. But now the employees were really outside, because management made sure that the store was clear. Not only that, the patrons, that were in there. And by the time they had gotten everybody out, then the Enterprise Police Department showed up, and then there were others, and of course with Chief Moore and his group done a very fine job controlling the crowd and trying to get people, to move out in this way or that way, and that everything was carried out very professional. And I would like to applaud our chief and the department, all of the law enforcement people, as well as the rescue squad, who came out at the aid of trying to help and to make sure that everything was taken care of.
Mayor, to be clear, you were there?
I was around there with the tire place in the back there, and heard the shots, and then saw the people running out. And naturally, I followed the suit.
Yes. Yes. So let me also make a point here that Walmart Supercenter and their staff there has been phenomenal through this investigation. They assist us fully and wholeheartedly last night, to include asking for direction to help us do our job. So I would be in the wrong if I didn't mention how great that staff is there. And again, it's a horrible situation, and nobody's making light of this. However, it was exceptional turnout by everybody that showed up to do the job. So,
do we have a name of the shooter?
I don't believe we're releasing that right now, and if it's going to be released. But he was not arrested. He was detained. Again, he was fully cooperative. He gave a full statement of his account, and it matched up to the witness's account. We're waiting for a little bit of more information, and then go from there. But there's no reason to think that it didn't happen the way it did, because it was cooperated in numerous different ways.
You mentioned that they sort of kind of met back, I guess, at Walmart. Do you have any reason to believe that the, I guess now deceased, followed the shooter to Walmart?
I don't believe so. Talking to the investigators at the scene after, up to this morning, I think it's just chance. They were shopping. One got their shopping done, and I forgot, like we always have when we've gone to Walmart. I forgot one thing, and it just so happened he ran into him, and words were exchanged. Again, the defender was kind of, I guess it was not 100%. He'd had surgery, he was in a sling, so he certainly felt a lot more threat than what he would normally have.
Do we know anything of surrounding the nature of the, I guess, initial road rage incident? Did someone just cut someone off? Do we know what
So
happened there?
apparently they were both pulling into Walmart from the bypass. The aggressor was up front. The defender was in the back. It was their turn to go, and he was not going. So the defender's vehicle, whoever it was, honked the horn at the other person, which apparently offended him, and that's where it began at.
Oh, so it didn't stem like start a mile away. They were both, I guess,
Yes, sir.
right there.
Yes, sir. It appears they were all going into Walmart. So yes, sir.
And it was the rounds you guys have recovered, has it been both from handguns? Has it been from handguns, or has it been from another kind of?
No, sir. It's all one handgun.
One
There's only
handgun.
one handgun brandished, and that was defenders for protection.
Gotcha.
Chief,
Nope.
sometimes the public doesn't understand when they call 911, dispatchers start asking them a lot of questions. The information they glean goes to y'all immediately that are responding. It's my understanding in this situation, the first officer arrives, has an idea of where, and he doesn't wait. He charges in.
That's correct.
To take command of the situation.
That's correct.
Was that, we hear shootings other places that they wait for multiple units to get there. In this case, the officer immediately confronted the situation. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. So we've had discussion on that through not only my department, but through the nation and everything else, that we do not wait. We cannot wait. Our job is not to wait. That officer that was the first on the scene took that wholeheartedly, and he said, I will not wait. And he went in and neutralized the threat in any which way. Fortunately for him and others, it turned out the way it did, but he was prepared. As I spoke to him last night, he was prepared to do, as he said, what you said we had to do, Chief. And I commend him for that. Phenomenal work. There'll be more to come from that, for that officer. But again, he didn't wait for backup. He didn't wait for others. He went in to assess, at least get eyes on, and move forward. And I appreciate him very much for that. That's our police department. That's our police force.
Chief, what would be your message to the public, so far as to use this as an example of, what not to do in a situation that could ultimately escalate in someone losing their life?
Cooler heads prevail. Cooler heads prevail. How about that? Cooler heads prevail. All right. One way or another. I can't say one person's right. I can't say one person's wrong. I shop at Walmart. I left Walmart earlier that day. I've shopped at other businesses. I left other businesses all through the day. I'm in an unmarked vehicle, and people have done silly things in front of me that I just assume, not intentionally, just go the other way sometimes, off duty or on duty. I'm not saying by any means who honked the horn was wrong, but also it put us in a situation like this. And again, going back to, even if you were honked at, that doesn't mean you get to get out and start a fight with somebody or attempt to be an aggressor. And that's what we got to be careful.
Again, to be clear, both people involved were men, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now, I know in some counties, every death goes to grand jury. So in this case, will it go to grand jury because there was a death involved for grand jury to hear the evidence, or?
That would be strictly up to the DA's office. I'll tell you this, my officer's investigations will complete the report as the death investigation. It will be forwarded to the DA's office for the DA to make the decision of what he wants to do with it.
To be clear, at this time, it doesn't seem like, right now, because of what you guys are calling it an act of self-defense, no initial charges or anything are coming from this.
Currently, that's correct. To be clear, as it stands right now, unless there is some extra information somewhere that we're not aware of, and again, it's still an ongoing investigation, this is where I'm cautious of releasing too much, but as it appears currently with the corroborating witnesses and evidence and statements and the scene evidence, it appears it's going to be self-defense. If it goes to grand jury, that's not abnormal. Whenever we get into officer-involved shootings, it does the same thing. So.
We applaud all your people. Did a
Thank
good
you.
job.
Thank you.
Good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Very fine.
Thank you.
Very